Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another of our frank and candid discussions. I believe that all of us are happy to be around today, Wednesday, 20th July 2022. A lot of us, of course, are expecting that by this time next month, a lot of us would either be happy or not so happy based on what happens on the 5th of August, and the results are known by the 6th of August. But I want to recommend and suggest, whatever the outcome, we continue to live our lives. First and foremost, of course, it would be so great if we were to live our lives according to the teachings and dictates of the Almighty God Himself, as contained in the Holy Bible and other writings. That would mean that, irrespective of the nature of what's going on around us, we will still be in a position to be satisfied and content with whatever obtains, knowing that our hope does not reside in man or what man promises, but more so in the written word of Almighty God. So that is my suggestion. I am advised I am supposed to have a guest this morning. I am awaiting his arrival. He may or may not turn up. In the event he doesn't, of course, we'll continue with our discussion. And in anticipation of his arrival, I did not have a particular topic in mind because, hey, when folks are booked to appear, you give them the minutes of fame. You let them take center stage, and so you don't prepare for that particular occasion. However, there is always wisdom in standing by and having a plan B. We are still and we'll continue to be in the political season for quite a while yet. We have the rest of this month, and then almost a week in next month. So we're going to continue to talk about matters relating to that, to politics, since as I was explaining to my son recently, and to other people, particularly younger people, when I get an opportunity, the decisions of politicians affect us all in one way or another, whether we like it or not. And those of us who are older and wiser, we know that everything we do, how we drive, what we drive, where we drive, when we drive, how much we pay to drive, all those are decisions made by politicians. What we eat, where we can obtain what we eat, the kind of things that are allowed to be imported, the prices that are set, and so on. All that, those are political decisions, by and large. And that is why leadership is so important. We really need a sturdy, solid, sound, reliable, trustworthy, honest leadership in order that our conditions and our lot be as comfortable as possible. All right? So, we have general elections coming up soon. Yesterday we spoke about that. Our 10th general election since independence on the 5th of August. Why do people run for political office? What do the thinking audience believe? Why do people run? Why do some people run from political office, run away from it? Although we are convinced they're good quality people, they have good leadership skills, they have been tried and tested in the public domain and in the private sector, and they have done well by whatever yardstick you use to measure success. So some run from it and some run towards it. Some run towards it to the extent that they lose a particular election, they run again. They lose that one too, and they run again and again. All right. Here in St. Kitts, I think there's a particular individual who has the record for running the largest number of times, and I think they were consecutive, without winning, without ever winning, without ever even coming close to winning. All right. I think maybe on just one or two of almost 6 or 7 occasions, he would have obtained double figures in terms of the number of persons who voted for him. Double figures, that is to say, 10 or more. But he kept running. Why? Why do you think that was so? And should there be a limit? We're talking about term limits for prime ministers and perhaps ministers of government and so on. Should there be a limit to the number of times an individual who loses can run? In other words, if you won twice and lose, can you run again? If you won 3 times and lose, are you eligible to make another bid? Or are you allowed to run as many times as you wish? Since that is so-called one of your rights. What do you think? Alright? So why do people run? And why do some not run? Why do some run towards and some run away from? And of course we are aware, not only here in St. Kitts and the Caribbean, but around the world, many persons once elected, the vast majority of persons seems to be, especially if they're in a leadership position, if they become prime minister or president as the case may be, they fight tooth and nail to remain there. And we're not talking about what obtains in St. Kitts, as I said earlier, please. We're talking about something that seeks to happen generally. Right? In fact, some countries' leaders physically liquidate their opponents. Okay. They physically liquidate their opponents in order to remain in office. You know? Why do they do that? He's not coming? Okay. Yeah. Okay, you can open the lines. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay, so we have opened the lines already, so you can call us and discuss with us what you think. Alright? I am interested in knowing what your ideas are. Why do some people run and run and run towards and some run from? Do you have a caller? No, okay. Right. I have my own ideas, of course. I have my own ideas as to why is it some people seem so attracted to that particular sphere of activity and others stay clear. Okay? Should there be criteria for running? Should there be criteria for running? Let's take our first caller. Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Blake or Brother Blake.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, which one you want, Brother, Mr. Blake?
Either one.
Okay.
I like being referred to as brother because I am more of a brother than a mister.
All right, I agree with you with that.
Definitely.
Yeah, my little thing today is just that, I mean, politician, all of them are the same politician, whether he's prime minister or no prime minister. And if people want to say, well, a prime minister should have only 2 terms, fine. Well, what about the other politician who not going to be prime minister? Should they go out for 3 or 4 elections trying to get in? If you win in, it's a different thing. But if you lose once and you lose twice, the game is for you. Back way and go do something else. Because you try once and you commit many promises, whether they're true or false, you fail. Mm-hmm. You come back again and you commit the same promises that you make the first time when you lose. So what I'm going to tell you, you commit the same thing that you offer the first time when you lose. Will you going to win this time? Hey, what it be? What the voters be crab? Crab ain't gonna head, but they got brains. So my thing is this: if he goes to the person who's supposed to be prime minister only 2 terms, let all enter the platform as politician, and you lose, drop out the race, because it's only what's up front that counts. What behind your shoulder, that doesn't count.
You know, it's possible, given the scenario, that a fellow could be prime minister for 2 terms. Then he can be a minister. Let's say a minister for 2 terms. After 2 terms, he becomes prime minister for 2 terms. That's 4 terms now. After he has served 2 terms as prime minister, since he cannot run for more than 2 terms as prime minister, he serves again as a minister for another 2 terms. So he would have served for 6 terms. Mm-hmm. I'm wondering, is that what we have in mind? Is that what we really want when we're imposing term limits on heads, the head of state, the head of government? Or is it that we don't want the ministers themselves to serve more than 2 terms? Because what I just painted is a very possible scenario. Mm-hmm. Right? You can serve as a minister, then serve as the prime minister, then serve again as minister.
Well, look at it. They're looking at this thing. They're looking at it this way because the prime minister is the head, and so they feel well. Then okay, once he's the head, he got all the liberty and authority to do what he wants at the head.
Right.
And they're in the middle section or down to the tail. They don't have that liberty. So therefore, you don't serve two term as a minister down there, and you move over and you serve 2 term as a prime minister. No going back down there and serve the minister. You don't have enough. That is my opinion. Get out.
Okay.
And go sit down. Thank you, Brother Blake. If anything else will come, but waiting on the guests.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm not sure if he's going to tell him, like I said. But listen, let me ask you directly. Why have you ever thought of running for political office? And
no,
if so,
no, man. No,
why,
well,
if not, why not?
Well, it came to me sometime in the last 6 years.
Oh, recently?
Yeah.
Okay.
Last 6 years. And I will want to be the Minister of Justice. Because there are certain things when people deliberately go and do that and you know it is wrong, brother, no mercy from me for you. You're going to bear the brunt of it. And I'm going to put it this way. Because all of us here, no man perfect. All of us born in sin. And we're living in it. And some of us trying to keep away from it. But when sin come in your house, you can't run out your door. When Christ come back to this earth here, whether they like to hear about Jesus Christ or not, I'm going to say it. When he come back here, none of us should escape if we don't do what he said that we must do.
Okay.
Because it's about not gnashing of teeth. Well, who not gonna teeth go rub gum?
But listen.
Yeah.
You said you thought about it. What made you not pursue it or not carry it through?
What made me didn't follow through?
You said you thought about running.
Yeah.
But apparently, clearly you didn't. So the question is, why didn't you follow through on that thought?
Well, I had other things that I love to do more than that. And so therefore I didn't say I didn't push myself up for that.
I see.
Because along the line, what I don't know when I enter, I would have learned.
Yes.
And make myself a perfect politician. Not perfect in life 100% because none of us perfect. But like I say, all I wanted to be just the Minister of Justice. To deal with people who gonna watch something wrong and take it up and go and do it.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Brother Blake.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. We have another caller. Let's take him or her. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
Hey, good morning, Mr. Blake. How are you?
I'm good. I'm definitely good.
Good to speak with you again.
Same here.
Right. On Monday when we last spoke, a caller after me mentioned something about the...
Could you raise your voice a bit, please? Or unless it's from inside here, I'm not sure.
Repeat that?
Okay, good. I'm hearing you clearer now. Right. I was asking you to raise your voice a bit.
Okay. You can hear me much better now.
Yes, sir.
Right. So I'm asking a question to you. When persons of Caribbean descent migrate to the United States or immigrate to the United States, are they allowed to vote in the United States?
Of course not. Not automatically. They have to become citizens.
Right. Or holders of green card.
I'm not sure if they can vote as holders of green card. I think they have to be a citizen to be able to vote.
Right. That's in the scenario of the United States.
Yes.
But nevertheless, persons of Caribbean descent would have naturalized.
Yes, they're citizens. Yeah.
Right. Would have participated in elections in the United States.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, in 2008, in the campaign of former President Obama, a lot of Caribbean, persons of Caribbean descent participated heavily in that election. And so I asked this question because there are persons who seemingly believe, because persons would have come from other countries and live here in St. Kitts and Nevis, married, have family, chose this country to be the place that they want to be a part of the Vision 2030, but they're saying, oh, you should not participate in the elections. And I'm not understanding that. You have chosen this country to be the country you're going to live in, so why shouldn't you participate in the democratic process? We should encourage everybody and every individual in the country to vote.
But the law speaks to that. The law defines who is allowed to vote based on place of origin and number of months or the amount of time he or she would have spent in the federation. The law speaks to that.
Right. And so I raise the point to say that because people weren't born into a country, well, you'd have to adjust the constitution, you'd have to make constitutional amendments to change what the situation currently entails. But as it is what it is. No, I
don't know of any country on earth, and there are almost 200 of them as recognized by the United Nations, independent countries that is, where only persons born in that particular country can vote, in countries where there are elections. I might have to do some research on that. I'm not sure if you are aware of any single country on earth where only persons born in the country can vote. In other words, even if you moved there when you were 2, and you lived there until you were 82, and you made, most significant contributions, you worked well, you worked hard, and so on, and you cannot vote. I'm not sure there's any country like that.
Right. So this brings me to my wider point, which is, why then would people believe that if you decide you weren't born in a country and you decide you want to support a particular political party, and in fact, you have heard my views, and I believe that Dr. Harris is one of the best persons to lead this country.
Yeah, but that is your view, and other persons have contrary views.
Right.
And nothing is wrong with that. In fact, that is how it is supposed to be. That is how it's expected to be.
Because all views are to contend, That is the nature of a democratic society. And so I want to make even the wider point, looking at that I want to see a larger voter participation. I'd love to see an election run in this country and other parts of the region. For example, voter apathy has become a very serious thing in the Caribbean. That a lot of the elections that are running, we're seeing lower and lower voter turnouts than before. And we need to encourage our people that when you sit down, when you don't participate, when you say, oh, well, it's the same thing over and over again, then you will never be able to effect that change that you want. You don't get a government that you deserve, you get a government that you elect. Yes? And so you do that by participating. So I want to encourage every person that resides in St. Kitts and Nevis, go out and vote on election day. Exercise your constitutional right to vote. Adult suffrage was a very serious, and you spoke to that on Monday, as to how we obtained adult suffrage in this country and the wider Caribbean. It was because it was the efforts of persons like Bradshaw, the national hero, and others in the Caribbean who fought heavily and intently for the people to participate in their own affairs. And we must not take this for granted. Our ancestors had to fight hard and long for the right to vote.
That's it?
That's it, Mr. Blake. So I just encourage everyone to vote. And you can choose who you want to vote for. But I'll encourage you, having looked at the performance of Dr. Harris, to give Dr. Harris a chance, because the man's term was in effect cut short before its time.
Okay. That is your view, and of course that is respected, and I hope that you are disposed to accept a contrary view.
No, definitely. Right. All views must contend.
Yeah. And just let me advise that the largest turnout we had on record for general elections was in 1971 elections under the supervisor of elections, that is, of William Ferdinand Doe, 88%. We have not come anywhere close since. 88% of the registered voters turned out in 1971. I think the lowest percent was in the 2000 election. I'll have to confirm that. I know for a fact that the largest turnout was in 1971, 88% of the electorate. I think the lowest turnout was in the year 2000. When we had about,
and that was the all eight. That was the year when the Labour Party won all eight.
Yeah, but of course, there are governments around the world who are in power with 20-something and 30-something% vote of the electorate. So
in Jamaica, only 25% went out. The
system does not allow for persons to win based on the number of the percentage of the electorate. but on the percentage of those who voted.
Right.
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 And
All
people
right,
have the
thank
right
you,
to vote and not
Mr.
to
Blake.
vote.
You take care.
I think they have a duty to vote, but they have a right not to vote if they wish.
Definitely. But do you know in some countries mandatory voting? For example, in Australia and other countries, there are some countries that have mandatory voting policies.
I'd like to see how that works. I've heard of it. I'd like to see how that works. So how could you oblige a person to vote? How could you make a person vote?
I find it quite strange as well. I think that's an undemocratic practice, but nevertheless, those countries have that policy.
If you force me to vote, I simply go in and spoil the ballot.
and that happens a lot, because if you look at some of the returns from those elections, you'll see that the level of spoiled ballots, especially in places Australia, Chile, and other places, they have high levels of spoiled votes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Blake. I'm enjoying the show.
Thank
All
you
the
very
best,
much.
and keep the hard work up, man.
Very well. Let's take another caller. Hello? Yes, sir. Okay. We missed him. Right. Our laws in St. Kitts, of course, allow for quite a large, diverse cohort of individuals to vote. In fact, I believe if only persons who were not just born in St. Kitts, but resident in St. Kitts at the time of the elections were allowed to vote, we would have some very different numbers in terms of persons voting, because we very well know that a large percentage of our population consists of non-Kittitians, quote unquote, and that a large percentage of Kittitians live abroad. Let's take this caller. Hello. What's happening here? Okay. Right. So the question then is, why do people run for political office? What are some of the factors that predispose persons to take up that particular line of action? And why do some not vote? We have another caller. Let's take him. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Blake.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yesterday I summoned you to go in the Pelican Mall and look at the bathrooms. I called to find out if you went, if you get a chance to look at them.
Yes, I did.
Because we now have a ship here, you know. And all the vendors, them in the vendors market, congratulating me for a job well done. These people being stifled, Mr. Blake.
Mm-hmm.
Not even a sign outside by the welcome hall telling the visitors them we have a local craft market in this country. And for years that been happening on the Dwyer, on the Ricky Skirt, on the man from Nevis, since it's Powell. None of these ministers, permanent secretary, nobody never think about putting a billboard out there, telling the visitors them that when you approach the Pelican Mall, you have a craft vending market. Nobody care about poor people. Nobody care about these people. So when men up and down, bouncing all over about the best tourism minister, take all your behind go in the Pelican Mall and fix the dirty toilet them. They need to fix. And upon appealing and when Miss Wendy Phipps, the hard-working, strong woman, to go in the Pelican Mall and look at the Pelican Mall, because I am pleased with it at all.
No, Manners.
Yes, sir.
No, over the years, public bathrooms, public toilets have been in terrorist state, in terrorist shape. They have really been in poor shape. Not just those at the Pelican Mall, which I did.
Yeah, we know that. And we know how they used to keep them.
Right, and of course...
So when we say, Mr. Blake, we would like to bring something different, where you put people to pick up a dollar, to keep certain characters from out of it. You can imagine the ladies them will clean in there. And rhymes come from nowhere, gone in there with visitors, gone by the little point, where wash his skin in there. And nobody could say them. We got to change this thing around, Mr. Blake.
So listen,
that's what you were telling me now, Mikey.
Yeah, well, sometimes you have to lend an ear Right? You have to listen a little bit. But I'm saying that the problem then is not necessarily with those who are supposed to maintain the bathrooms, although they have a critical role to play. I think the problem is we. The problem is
It's we. Yeah, definitely. The problem is we. But what I'm saying, you're getting the enforcement from upstairs. Money was allocated to fix that deal. My friend Patrick told me when he was there in Parliament, they gave them money to fix the bathroom them downstairs. From the time Simmons built the Pelican Mall, refurbish it. Them bathroom never change. The same toilet. The vents hold them. You go in there when the place is warm. If a person is too, you stay outside in the walkway and smelling it. This is what's going on in there. You walk in from the Bell Road or you come from Port Center side. You're smelling the mall. The minister never go in there. He never go in there but use in there. That is how you can tell me his best tourism minister? There. This is the problem, Mr. Blade.
All right. Thank you.
Hello?
Yeah. Let's no, before I take another call, I must respond a little bit and remind manners that the problem is the local citizens, the local residents. I don't know what is it that drives us to just drop litter as we walk along the road, including when we see a dustbin 5 feet away, we just drop it right there. I don't know what is it that makes us go into a public bathroom and just misuse it and abuse it. I don't know what is it. I think that's something we need to examine, because that is the root of the matter. The way we, the public, general public, use the bathroom. Let's take this caller. Hello.
Good day.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, morning. The unfortunate thing about politics in general is that it takes a particular type of person to endure the rigors and the scrutiny, first of campaigning, and then if they are successful, they must have sound character to resist the trappings of power. Okay? Maybe that's why only certain people run into politics. And that may also be the reason why some people run away from it. Like, for instance, why there are more women in politics. Because they tend to be less into the ego thing and the bombast and the cussing. All right? But you are going to talk about the criteria. And I think that the criteria, if there should be criteria for entry into politics. And that, I think, would help in ensuring that we get the right people. Mm-hmm. Right? Because you could bet your life, for instance, if we had operationalized things like the integrity in public life, legislation, freedom of information, and those things. First of all, many of the current politicians would not qualify for entry into politics based on some of the records that they have. In St. Martin, I think they have that test, like, for instance, declaring assets and those sorts of things, after you get elected. Right, as soon as you get elected, those things, there's scrutiny. But it can also come before, so that the candidates themselves have to be scrutinized. And so you're less likely to elect some demagogue, some charlatan who can talk nice, give a nice talk, but it's really corrupt.
But how does that square with the notion that the more one has, the more one wants? And you know, when one is rich, he only seeks to get richer. So even if one were to say, hey, I have assets of $3 million, which means that I'm not entering on the surface, superficially, I'm not entering politics to enrich myself because I'm already well set. But the reality is that many people who already are endowed with that kind of material wealth, they want more and more.
Exactly. Well,
so I'm not sure if they want more, your assets.
Or it could be that they want more, or that they want more power, because a lot of it.
That's a different thing now. You're talking power is different, because we could come into that. Power is different from wealth. That's how you were referring to.
Well, but the two are related. If you have wealth.
But listen, I want you to give me one criterion that you think, in your own deliberate judgment, you think should be in place before an individual can register to be a candidate? What is one criterion? In other words, what? Age, criminal history, place of birth, religion, what? Give me one criterion.
Certainly not religion and those things.
But try out something.
I would say should not have been a lawbreaker.
So his criminal history.
Criminal history is one criteria. And also in the civil sense, I mean, if for instance you were found guilty of embezzlement or something that might have been a civil offense, I think something like that too should be considered. Because if you are going to, let's say, do something like misappropriate a client's money, should you be trusted with the public money? You see what I mean? Even though it's not a criminal offense, it's a civil offense. But there are things like these that need to be considered. But I mean, it is, you got to remember though, it's anti-democratic, really, to tell people to choose for people who they should vote for, when you really think about it. So it's term limits. I mean, when you think about it, you would say, well, if the people want that person for 20 years, then give the people what they want.
Hey, listen, criminal refers to both blue collar crime, so-called, and white collar crime. It refers to both victimless crime and victim crime. When I speak of criminal, I'm talking about crime in all its facets. I was just thinking of
right.
the fellow who was killed.
So at the bottom line, you would think that is absolutely necessary, right? Because we want honest, trustworthy people in public affairs, because that is part of the problem, you know. And remember too, and remember I said about the trappings of power. You may start off good, but because there are no accountability measures or no measures in place to prevent you from abusing power, you can go bad. And so whatever we do, we should make sure that there are good governance systems in place to prevent that from happening. That is what I think is more important than actually even getting the systems right in terms of criteria for entry. Make sure that whoever gets in there has to be accountable. You must run a transparent government. There must be freedom of information, that people know what's going on.
30 seconds.
Mm-hmm. And so once we have those, I think we'll be all right.
Okay.
Okay then.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to ask callers to be more conscious of time and not take too long, as it were. We're going to pause now for station break.
Yo, this is Skinny Fabulous, and I'm inviting you to be ready this carnival season with Courts Ready Cash. Get up to $20,000 cash right now. No deposit needed, and it's completely hassle-free. You will have your money in your hand in less than 24 hours. What are you waiting for? Don't miss the vibes this carnival season. It's all about Courts Ready Cash. Ready when you are.
Thinking bad, all my friends them stinking mad. We be having thinking bad. Martin call me the drinking god.
The PAM Victory Train is on the move again and heading to Sadler's Lodge and Green Tree Old Road. The weekend journey begins on Wednesday, July 20, when PAM will be taking its message to the people of Sadler's with another massive public meeting on the Sadler's lawn. Then on Thursday, the movement will be heading to Lodge in constituency number 7 at Walwyn Street. From Lodge, it will be Grand Flashore in number 4, when the PAM train pulls into Green Tree Old Road on Saturday, July 23rd for a dynamic campaign rally with a full package of entertainment and presentations from the PAM winning team. All meetings and rallies begin at 8 p.m. PAM is on the road to victory.
Okay, welcome back. This is the first time I've been asked to pause for station break since I resumed here on Monday. Just to advise people out there, by the way, in order to vote on election day, one does not need to have a voter's ID, what we refer to as the National Voter's ID card. Please be advised. I have been a presiding officer on a number of occasions, and I know that the law does not demand that an individual has a national ID voter's card in order to cast his ballot. What must happen is that your name must be on the voters list, and you will have an ID. Remember, only adults can vote, 18 and above. You should have some form of ID which corresponds with your name, the name on the ID and that on the voters list. What you need is for your name to be on the voters list. That is what you should be checking for, to ensure that you are eligible to vote. But you do not need an ID, so there is no need to crowd the electoral office for a voter's ID card. If you need to do that to ensure that your name is on the list, sure, that is fine, that is important, go right ahead. But you don't necessarily need a voter's ID in order to vote on the 5th of August. Please bear that in mind. Thank you. Let's take another caller. Hello? Hello?
Good morning, Brother Blake. Good morning.
Yes?
Yeah, first, Brother Blake, I always want to thank God for life. Thank God for the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. Now, Brother Blake, any special topic this morning?
I hate to have to repeat that. It means you're turning late. But we're asking the question, why do some people run for political office? And why do some people run away from political office? Why do some want towards it and some want to become?
My little input this morning. Leadership really matters, because the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris was in a government with a unity concept, and he formed his political party 2015 to join with a unity concept of PAM system and PLP. And now they saw the first term and they were doing very good. They do very well the first term, because even them who was in government with him said he do well. He was doing good. They praised him up. Say the best prime minister. And the Blake said this first that the PLP party, now in 2020 now, they come in 2020, they went back to the poll. And now they get elected again. And they refuse to serve the government in the government with Dr. Timothy Harris. And whoever work out with them, Dr. Harris got to get rid of them. And the PLPD now on its own running the government still. And I believe that the reason why the people then supporting PLP, they see the great leadership in Dr. Harris. You understand? Because it's three party now. It's three party against a 7 years party. The CCM, PAM, and Labour. And Dr. Harris, the mother talk, he must support the generate. He must support the generate. You could even see it now. Dr. Harris got a bigger, the PLP got a bigger core than PAM. In any meeting they got a bigger core than PAM. So something in the matter beside the person, that leadership is very important. And as long as you got a good leader, no matter who you got the cabinet members, parliament representatives, we keep them like them. As long as you got a good leader, I believe that this thing will work out. Because as long as you got a good captain for the team will win.
Okay, but you have not addressed the matter at hand. You asked me if there was a particular topic, and I told you we are talking about. You want to get some ideas as to why do you think some people run for political office and some don't. You have not addressed that. You want to give me an answer to that?
I believe some people run for political office because they see the opportunity where they can make some quick money and get out. And you got some people, they don't want to go into politics because they want to label and buy no one. You know?
They don't want to
everybody, some people can't take criticism. And when you're into politics, you got to be able to take criticism, and you know, some people even attack your family. So that's why some people do not want to get in politics. But some people get in politics because they see where they fit. Okay, then, Brother Blake.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
All right. We have another caller. Yes.
Hello,
let's invite him or her.
Yes. Yeah, what Mr. McMahon was saying, right?
Can't hear what you're saying, actually. I'm not sure if the problem is here or you.
Hello, what Mr. McMahon was saying. If he made the first Prime Minister, which is Mr. Douglas, to do that, we won't end this dilemma today. He's telling us about St. Martin, and so because maybe they used to go that long time in St. Martin and they don't straighten it. Right, because I tell you about say what you got, say what you got. You do that done, you know, promise us to Mr. Lake. Right? After Mr. Timothy said he didn't like what Mr. Douglas do. Did he said that he gonna do it in 2015. Did he do it? No. So they just going around in a circle. And it's not in a circle thing. It and circle and balcony don't pass a long time. We need to be in a new era. We need to understand what's going on. Nobody wants to say what they do. They have Mr. Blake because what happened? They want to just go in there and grab what the country grab what the country got. He made me surprised because he give a good idea, say he was going to do this, he was going to be like Mr. Douglas, and he ain't better. Because when I see what my eyes see how enlarged, they own in these amount of property, right? It was an empty cane field and now we're pulling up our houses because of the brother one, the sister one, the cousin one. That ain't supposed to happen. We have no accountability. A good governor that talk about, yeah, they come up about good governor talk about what happened. They fail. And they fail badly. I think they need, maybe you're going to run here, Mr. Blake. Because I need new people. All of them come in with a bunch of, like Mr. Timothy saying in 2015, auxiliary workers, they ain't getting no pension and this and that. He come back again this time with it. That's still news. He was supposed to straighten it. And so, well, the people them who work in this kind of area, let them get some pension. But no, why he coming to fool? Who is going to fool? And that's what bothering me. I hear a gentleman just calling a talk about good governance. Good governance way. That's why he come on. Thing matters. That's why he did come on about it matter. No, matter not because, why he was using it. And afterward, now he drop it. Because he gone to something else. We didn't know what was going on. We didn't know they was under falling out, banner. Yeah, he had it as this matters and that matters, and we were going along with it, so really going good. But not no, they on the hand, they ain't doing nothing right. He's saying
60 seconds. 60 seconds more.
Thing. He was gonna do like put things in order. That we want to be going around with this about who got this amount of money there, who got money there, who ain't got money there. He ain't do it. He want to blame the Labour Party, but they wasn't coming with it. They had enough people to pass it in the house. And that's a nonsense with educated people I don't like.
Okay.
They had enough people, they ain't do it. Because what? It benefiting them.
30 seconds.
The electoral office need to clean up.
30 seconds.
They ain't clean it up. So now they're putting on name who they feel like. I hear the announcement a while ago, you could walk with your passport, you could walk, you could don't walk with your card. Mr. Blake, you ain't think it's not time for us to get like Chanik Wharton? It's time for us to get that there and stop walk with it and walk with it, and people are going to vote in people's name.
Okay.
For instance, I refuse from going. Somebody will go there.
Yeah, you have a few seconds more.
Yeah. Talking about the hell place down in the mall now. People in the office there to do the work, but they ain't coming out like Mr. Isilma when Mr. Isilma used to work there. Right? Because they
okay, you have 5 seconds. 5 seconds.
Computer, and the maintenance man around and them and the maintenance man a friend. So, how are we going to get things done?
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Now, I don't understand. How is it that when we advise people that they have a few seconds left, they just keep carrying on? They have to pay attention to that. We don't, we certainly don't want to cut anybody. We don't want to have to interrupt anybody's contribution, but they do not have all morning. So, listeners, please, we certainly want you to be actively involved in the discussion. But when we say you have 60 seconds more or 30 seconds more, please listen and cut short what you have to say. Don't forget you can always call back. you can always call back. We know that it exacts a cost, but we cannot have any individual taking over the lines too long, especially as we get closer to the end. You know, the time is going to be shorter and shorter. So perhaps if you want to make a long contribution, you should do it as soon as we begin, because that is when persons have more time. But as we get closer to the end, ladies and gentlemen, please work with us. And if you advise you have 30 seconds, 10 seconds, 1 second, you have to abide by that instruction. You cannot expect to start a new topic, a new issue, when we have told you you have 30 seconds left. So please, work with us, please. Thank you very much. We have another call online. Yes, take him or her. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Blake.
Yes, ma'am.
This is Dumpling speaking.
Talk to me.
Mr. Blake, why some people like to come on the radio and try to embarrass themselves and they know that is not better than the people them way doing the government work? She failed with she not, she failed with she bear, but she don't try to hush him out and you, when you, when you tell them 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and you see the coming down, punch them out. I don't know whether that's going ready to embarrass themselves for. But skip off.
Okay, thank you. Now, I don't believe anybody is embarrassing him or herself when he or she calls in. And we're going to allow everybody to speak once he is not disrespecting anybody else. Alright? And Bernice and Dumpling and John and Mary, everyone has the right to call in and express his or her opinions. That is going to happen. And if the individual wishes to, quote-unquote, embarrass him or herself, that is his or her prerogative, provided he does not embarrass or disrespect anybody else. So let us understand that that is how it goes. Let's take another caller.
Morning, how are you?
Yes, ma'am.
You could hear me?
A little bit.
You could hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yes, everybody had their right, but when they ain't talking good sense.
Yeah, but just a minute. Let me stop you there. When they're not talking good sense to who?
Mr. Blake, you gonna listen me? Good morning.
No, wait. You say when they're not talking good sense. When they're not talking good sense according to you, according to me, according to John Brown, according to who? Because a lot of things we say, which makes a lot of sense to us, might mean nonsense to others. And a lot of things others say makes a lot of sense to them, but doesn't make any sense to us. So we have to listen to other people. Yes, go ahead now.
They're tying up themselves. Anyway, why pot the scarlet kettle black? No. His government have never do nothing for 20 years. No integrity, not know what he's talking about. And do more bad. And when he was to tell them where was he? What he want to do, he do. What the Prime Minister want to do, he do. He better than bonus. Give him a chance. He give you a shelter. You aren't playing, you're not paying a social. See you. Call back in and say what you want to say.
Okay, let's take another caller. I have a feeling I'm going to, when I recognize certain person's voices, I'm not going to allow them to speak. Because they seem intent on just belittling others and cursing others. And I'm not going to, once I sit here, I'm not going to let that happen. So let me warn some people. If you insist on that kind of intervention, I'm not going to allow it. From the time I recognize your voice, I'm not going to allow you to proceed any further. You cannot be calling on Frank and Candid simply to curse other people, call people's names, and try to make them feel bad. I'm not going to have that. The idea is that you call and express your idea, give us an idea, give us what your thoughts on the matter at hand, or something that others can learn from. You know, to tell us something that can benefit other people. I'm not going to allow anybody to use this program to demean it and belittle it. So, when you're going to call in, please have something constructive to say. Thank you very much. Any other callers? Let's just take this one. Hello.
Morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, sir. Don't care what we do or what we say, right? We will never get a government whatever could please everybody.
Exactly.
And I don't think the Prime Minister should try to please everybody. He cannot get it done.
Not going to happen.
We was there Mr. Bratcher time. We come to Simmons. We come to Douglas. And now we come to Timothy. People still filing fault. So people going to find fault. The devil in hell high friend. So who want to be perfect? I think they need to put the money where the bomb be and go on for politics. Timothy Harris is not the best, but he's not perfect. But at least you could see he trying, because if somebody is so bad and so a new party will just come up and so much people following, it got to be something that's good in him. Mark Manson said that dump him over and can we dump and pick him up and clean him up with Quailin, but it ain't everything you trying to dump is bad. So we, the people who supporting him, we find something good in him. And God bless him and may he continue to serve his country and serve everybody well. Have a blessed day.
Thank you. All right, let's take another caller. Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Moderator. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you.
Okay, just called to give my 2 pence. I would like to encourage all the people of St. Kitts and Nevis to vote for PLP. That's the best way to go. We have a good leader in the Minister of Dr. Timothy Harris. He's doing a good job. I would like him to pick up from where he left off or to move forward. I will say vote PLP. That's the best way to go. Thank you. Have a good day.
Very well. I'm sure to have a good day, and I hope you have a good one yourself. Let's take another caller. Hello.
Yeah, Brother Blake.
Yes, sir.
According to your qualification, I don't know if you did it before, but I would suggest that you have an evening institute, because a lot of people do not know the definition of certain words. Now, we were talking about the criteria why people should go up on the political platform and what that.
Mm-hmm.
And one caller come on and said that people must be honest. Well, I agree with that caller. Honesty is the best policy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Mr. Blake, if I ain't working, if I supposed to be working at Public Works in the water department, and I ain't gonna work for a whole week or a month, you think I'm not going the line, the paymaster line, where you paying people? Do you think I have any way they're going to look for money and I ain't work?
No, I don't think so.
That's right. Because if I go and I carry fault document on my invoice, my invoice, and the paymaster accept that, and I know definitely that I did not work, and the information that I give the paymaster is wrong, and I collect the money, I commit a crime. So when it comes to politician, anybody want to go in public life, I think the background should be scrutinized. And where we find that they make a blunder, a deliberate blunder, disqualify them. And I like your policy. Some people come on the radio and they want to take a half an hour to say one word. They have no consideration for other people, and they do not use the discretion, and they deliberately do it. That's why we're going to come on and say, let me move, let somebody else get a chance. I always say that. Thank you, Brother Blake.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Let's take another caller. I think this might be our last caller. Hello.
Yeah, Brother Blake. Yeah, Brother Blake.
Yes, you have 60 seconds.
Yes, okay, Brother Blake. Yes, it seems to me a lot of people got a lot of a problem with the candidate the PLP got. But I believe that them is young people, brilliant people, businessmen and women, and I believe that them will serve the people well if the people them elect them in government.
Okay.
These are the people we want. We want the people from the grassroots. We don't want a doctor and a lawyer and these things. We have enough of them, because the doctor come into politics and you feel like you can do well for the people, and when you look at turn a blind or you turn a different cheek. No. We want these people because these know where hard life come from. So let me let these young men and women in the PLP party when the next election come around. Okay, Brother Blake.
Thank you very much. That's always the last caller. Just let me advise the public that the history of St. Kitts is clear. There are persons who are professionals, who are university trained and all of that, who have a number of quote-unquote degrees, who have served the country well. And there are those who have none, but who have served the country just as well. So to say that we don't need doctors or lawyers as politicians is not, in my mind, a fair statement to make, because we have had doctors and lawyers and other professionals who have served at that level and done excellently. And we've had persons who perhaps their highest level of training or education was at high school level, and they too did a masterful job. We must always remember that Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw never set foot in the university, and who can compare with him? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being a part of Frank and Candid today. We'll do it again tomorrow. Until then, be good.